Hi, I'm Sophia. This is Sophia Reviews, and today I'm reviewing Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters 2016 is a very divisive film. Except for the original, I've heard more people say this is their favorite film in the series than any movie, but it also has its haters. I love this movie. I think it's hilarious. I think it's held up really well 10 years later. I'm not going to make a video telling you what other people think about this movie, but it's kind of hard to make a review of Ghostbusters 2016 without pointing out the fact that it does have a lot of people who hate it, and a lot of them will say with their full chest they hate it because it stars women, and ghostbusting is a masculine fictional trade. And then there's other people who are just cranky old nerds who don't like sequels and reboots to their old beloved sci-fi films. And some of them I can kind of agree with to some extent. Like I get the spirit of not liking a reboot just because you love the original and you're like, I don't need this new one. Like, I've said that, RoboCop 2014, totally unnecessary. I think this movie is a lot funnier than the original, but I will concede that the story kind of suffers from just how much emphasis is put on the comedy. Like, this is a full-on comedy. Melissa McCarthy, Kate McKinnon, Leslie Jones, and Kristen Wiig nail the roles of Ghostbusters in this movie. I wish it had made more money so we could have got at least one sequel. The 2010s had a lot of reboots and revivals and sequels and things like that, and this stands out as one of the best. Maybe it's not better than Star Wars Episode 7, but I've seen it more times and had more fun with it. Watching it in 2026, when the reboot trend has mostly died down, the concept of a reboot or even the term reboot just seems so weird to me. Ghostbusters came out in 1984, it had one sequel, and then they made it again. But honestly, this movie does a lot of things differently. I can think of some reboots that just do the exact same thing again. This isn't one of them. It has some unique ideas to bring to the table, and I don't feel like I'm watching the exact same movie again, just with different actors. One nice thing about a reboot or remake that you can't do with a legacy sequel is you don't have to find a way to build off all the pre-existing lore and continuity. You can just start over. You can do the same thing with a sequel, but often a sequel is a direct continuation. Which I do like, but I enjoy the way a reboot can work with a clean slate. Even if they do end up just doing the same things over again. Ghostbusters 2016 is one of my favorite films of the decade and one of the funniest comedies I've ever seen. While it will never take the place of the original, it made Bustin' feel good all over again. The film begins as tour guide Garrett gives a tour of the mansion. I sure hope there won't be any ghosts in this mansion, because I am very scared of ghosts. Sure enough, a ghost throws him against the wall, tosses a chair at his head. As he runs foolishly into the basement, green slime bubbles up. The staircase crumbles as he runs back up to it. Cut to Kristen Wiig playing Aaron Gilbert, who's gearing up to teach a class at a college. Ed Bigley Jr. playing Ed Mulgrave comes up to her and says, "Sorry to interrupt, but I need to speak to you about something you wrote." She says, "Sorry, yes, what publication?" "I'm talking about your book," he replies. "I'm sorry, I don't know what you mean," she says. "If you'll excuse me, my class will be here any minute." "You're Aaron Gilbert, right?" he asks. "Co-author of Ghosts from My Past, both literally and figuratively, the study of the paranormal?" No self-respecting scientist believes in the paranormal, I can assure you that. "I'm sorry you're looking for a different Aaron Gilbert," she replies. "But this really does look like you," he says, and holds up a picture of her and Melissa McCarthy's character Abby Yates. She says, "What? Yeah, that's me. It was a very long time ago and it was just a gag between a couple of friends. A 460-page gag? For sentences? This is not a joke?" he asks. "What do you want?" she asks. "I'm Ed Mulgrave. I'm the historian at the Aldrich Mansion. I believe it's haunted. You just come take a look. I tried the police, but I just sound crazy. I'm sorry," she says. "That book you're holding is utter nonsense. I don't even know how you got that. I thought I burned both copies. It's on Amazon," he says. "Full hard copy and ebook." "What?" she asks. "It's on books on tape, too. Only I know how to read," he says. Cut to Erin at her computer verifying that the book is indeed on Amazon and saying, "I'm going to kill you, Abby." She tracks down Abby at her workplace, the Kenneth P. Higgins Institute of Science. Abby takes a look at Erin and says, "Well, well, well, Erin." Erin says, "Abby?" Then Abby gets her lunch from a delivery person who arrives at the same time. Erin says, "You put our book online without my permission." Abby says, "I don't need your permission." "Of course you need my permission. I wrote that book with you. My name is on it." Erin says, "No, absolutely not," Abby replies. "That book is a whole new revenue stream for me, and I'm like 1/10 away from getting a new mini fridge in here." Erin says, "Look, I am up for tenure right now, and if my colleagues at Columbia University Google my name, that is the first thing that comes up, along with the ghost emoji now, thank you very much. That does a little dance." "You know what," Abby says, "that book was our baby, and you abandoned that baby before it learned to fly." Erin said, "Okay, well, books can't fly, and neither can babies, so..." "You don't know," Abby says. "I'll tell you what. If I had a flying baby, I'd zip this," pointing to her mouth, "and so would you." "There is no experimental backing for anything in that book," Erin says, "and it makes me look like a crazy person." Abby looks at her lunch and she only got one wonton and proceeds to make an angry call to the restaurant. Kate McKinnon, playing Jillian Holtzman, asks Erin if she comes here often. Erin says, "I'm sorry, hello, who are you?" Holtzman shakes her hand and says, "Holtzman, I've heard terrible things about you. Don't get too close to her, Holtzman," Abby says. "She asks you to write a book and then she'll squash your dreams. Holtzman works with me here in the lab. She's a brilliant engineer and very loyal. She would not abandon you. She also happens to specialize in experimental particle physics. Holtzman and I are really busy here, actualizing what we just theorized about in our book. We're incredibly close to the hollow laser for the reverse tractor beam." "You're making a reverse tractor beam?" Erin asks. "Abby," says Holtzman, "why don't you let her listen to the EVP?" "What's an EVP?" asks Erin. "No," says Abby, "there's no EVP." Holtzman tries to explain what it is, and Erin cuts her off and says, "Electro voice phenomenon. I'm familiar, I know what it means, and there's never been one substantiated." Holtzman says, "A few months ago we spent 8 nights at the Chelsea Hotel. We didn't get anything." "Well," says Abby, "we didn't think so." And then later in the lab we're reviewing these tapes. Erin leans into the recorder and listens intently to the tapes for signs of paranormal activity. Then hears a loud fart noise. Abby gasps, Holtzman laughs, and Eric says, "Wow, you really got me." Abby says, "We usually don't get people to come over here, but we have never." "She came right over to it," Holtzman says. "Never had anybody actually put their face down close to the machine," says Abby. "It's a cool joke," Erin says. "It's very funny." "It was funny. It's disgusting." "Is it more or less disgusting if I tell you it came from the front?" Holtzman asks. "What's next?" asks Erin. "You will give me a wedgie?" "No," says Abby. "I think both of us pretty much felt you had enough of a stick up your butt." "Burn," says Holtzman. "Okay, you know what? I thought we could have an adult conversation, but apparently we can't," says Erin. He then starts to walk off. Abby says, "Erin, if you don't believe in this stuff anymore, then why were you looking for the book?" "A man came to see me at my work saying this building was haunted," replies Erin. "What building?" asks Abby. "The Aldridge Mansion," says Erin. "It's obviously a joke." Abby turns to Holtzman and asks, "You want to go find some ghosts?" Holtzman says, "Yeah." As they leave, Abby tells Erin, "Let's go." Erin says, "I'm not going with you guys." Abby says, "Oh no, are you kidding? You were never invited. I need to get you out of the lab so I can lock the door." Outside, Erin finally convinces Abby to take the book down, but only if Erin introduces Abby to Ed Mulgrave over at the Aldridge Mansion. Abby seems to back off a bit, saying she'll consider taking the book down until Erin gets tenure. Over at the Aldridge Mansion, they see a woman floating in a long dress, all blue and ethereal, as haunting music plays as she hovers over to them. As Erin tries to introduce herself, the ghost face turns into a skeleton and barfs all over her. I'm not a fan of barf jokes, so I don't love this bit, but at least his ghost slime barf, that's a bit less gross. Erin turns to the camera and says, "Ghosts are real," and the video gets uploaded to YouTube. The college finds out about it and fires her, and she loses tenure. Erin reads the comments the video's gotten online, and it says, "Ain't no B-words gonna hunt ghosts." This is meta humor acknowledging the misogynists who hated on the trailer for the film simply because the protagonists were women. Abby gets fired from her job over the video as well. Leslie Jones plays Patty Tolan, a subway worker who sees a ghost who is blue and sort of transparent and constantly being struck by electricity. The ghost looks like he died in the electric chair. Patty drops her flashlight and runs, saying, "Forget this, man, forget this." Neil Casey, playing Rowan North, talks to himself while looking into the mirror. He says, "You have been bullied your entire life. Now you will be the bully." When Patty was assaulted by the ghost in the last scene, this little guy was creeping in the corner like a sicko, watching the whole thing. The crew arrive at the Hook and Ladder, the same old firefighter station from the original movie. Unlike in the original, the whole thing is all shiny and renovated, and they love it. It turns out the rent is $21,000 a month, so Erin says she needs something a lot cheaper. They move into the upstairs loft at a Chinese restaurant. Holtzman starts lip-syncing to an 80s pop song while brandishing torches. She ends up setting something on fire and putting it out with a fire extinguisher. Chris Hemsworth, playing Kevin, interviews for the receptionist gig. And really the role reversal from the one woman being the receptionist to the one man being the receptionist is just too good. They proceed to sexually harass him, and hey, it wouldn't be a Ghostbusters movie if it wasn't a little problematic. I like the bit where Kevin pitches a logo of a giant hot dog flying over a house. He says, "I just thought the floating hot dog implies a ghost is haunting it." Patty meets up with the Ghostbusters in the subway and she shows them the electric ghost. Erin tries to fire a proton pack, but the beam goes limp and drops to the ground. She tries again and it lassos the ghost. A bus is coming, so they pull Erin back to safety. The ghost tries to hit the bus and everyone gets slimed. Pat says he's going to be the third scariest thing on that train. In the alley, Abby tests a proton beam and flies through the air with no control over it. Erin decides they are going to catch a ghost and bring it back to the lab. They take off in the ectomobile and play a really bad cover of the Ghostbusters theme song. This song has got to be my least favorite part of Ghostbusters 2016. It's just really up-tempo and tinny and annoying. It kind of slaps, but for the most part it just annoys me. The Ghostbusters go to a concert and Patty sees a bunch of creepy mannequins. One of them starts walking around and following her. They all zap it with proton beams and a green demon pops out, and this is cool. Probably my favorite design in the whole movie. The demon rushes the stage and the singer says they've summoned Satan himself and the demon smashes into him. The Ghostbusters hit it again with their proton beams. Patty says, "I'm about to save you from this ghost," and she tries to crowd surf. No one catches her and she says, "I don't know if this is a race thing or a lady thing, but I'm mad as hell." The demon ghost perches on Patty's shoulders and she tries to walk away. The other three hit it with proton beams and trap it in the ghost trap. Bill Murray, playing Dr. Martin Heiss, shows up at Ghostbuster HQ. He asks, "Why are you pretending to catch ghosts?" They tell him they've caught a ghost and he says he would love to see that. Aaron lets the ghost loose and the demon ghost immediately knocks him out the window and kills him. Skipping ahead because this review is running long. The Ghostbusters save the day after a bunch of ghosts show up. If you want more detail than that, watch the movie. It's not that hard to track down. I give this film 5 out of 5 ghosts and declare that bustin' makes me feel good. A reboot is never going to please everyone. While this movie is not perfect, I will always be a fan of it. It's just really fun to watch.